We're back.
We're back for
back.
episode 2 of our new podcast, Love, Sex and Relationships.
Yes.
We've had so much fun actually doing these podcasts.
Oh my God, I know. And today, what did we say? Because we were on our way back from, where did we go? Stonehenge for the spring equinox.
Which was pretty insane.
Yeah. And we thought, you know what? Something came to us. What were we talking about? The essence of a woman.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Deep.
And then what did we say our subject's going to be?
The flower and a woman.
Yes. And literally we were talking about the essence of a woman and how we compared it to a flower. So it was like, oh my gosh. And we were just talking about it in the van on the way back home from the spring equinox with all these ideas and inspo from Stonehenge and Avebury, where we stayed a couple of nights, haven't we? And oh my God, we love it there. Inspirational place for us, isn't it?
Yeah. And especially the time of year being the spring equinox, spring representing birth, rebirth, representing, like, you know, in England when spring comes around, all of the flowers begin to blossom. And so like spring really represents that blossoming process and definitely represents fertility and new beginnings. So we was kind of really inspired to really talk about more of that today, but to kind of really nail it into how that kind of transfers over to a woman's expression and to like how a woman can really begin to blossom.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like I've been on my own blossoming
You have
journey.
definitely 100% like blossomed.
But it's so funny because you were looking back at videos where, from how long ago, like 2019 or something, where I was like, oh my God, yeah, like I look so different and like my energy's
different.
So different. So it's like, wow, I've actually blossomed as a woman. I can feel it within as well. Like I can feel the shifts and the changes and how I'm becoming, like we were saying, compared to a flower, like more sweeter, more lighter, more fresher. Like there's so much relevance, isn't there?
The best part,
to a flower.
the best part of the flower is when it blossoms, is when it really comes into life. Where like when you see the colours and the fragrance and the bees are attracted, like the actual flowering part is the most beautiful part of the process.
Most attractive part.
It's the most the truly attractive part, and I feel like that's something we're going to touch upon today on just seeing women beyond the physical appearance of herself.
Wow. Because that's pretty much...
Like women are actually dying to be seen. Like to be truly acknowledged in this way, rather than being acknowledged for like how women look, you know, or what they're doing in the world or their role in the world. Like to just truly acknowledge the true beauty of a woman beyond the in how she shows up physically. And that is the spiritual depth that we realize more and more in ourselves, that inner beauty, that inner core, that inner essence of how beautiful we are, how beautiful life is. So first of all, before we can even have like the blossoming, the flower of the woman, there has to be that recognition of something in ourselves and each other that's beyond the physical appearance. And I feel like for me, because I began to recognize that in myself, to then, because I'm seeing it in myself, because I'm seeing my own beauty, I can then begin to see it more in Lauren. And the more I've seen it in Lauren and the more she's recognized it in herself, it's like the more she's began to blossom and like to really become more transparent to the beauty. So like, and I feel like as a woman, as you begin to disidentify from your looks, disidentify from your ideas about who you are, the ideas that you have about yourself, the more you realize God, then the more you begin to transmit this. It's almost like you're bringing the flower through, you're bringing the life through you. You're now emanating the life instead of the ideas and the concepts and who I believe I am. You're now emitting life itself. And when a woman begins to do that and you begin to see a woman that's doing that, it's like it captivates you in a completely different way. Like beyond, because I think most men are captivated by looks, bum, boobs, you know what I mean? The physical appearance. And so I think women become stuck in that because that's all a man ever really sees of a woman. But when he begins to see a woman much deeper than this, then I just, you know, I can't take all of the credit for your blossoming because that's come through your own process. But I think me being able to really validate that, really see that, really acknowledge that in you has definitely allowed you to be more of that. as I've been more of that as well.
By the way, I totally agree. No, I totally agree. And I actually give it to you because it's only since really meeting you I've blossomed. I didn't blossom before meeting you. I was going through my shadow before meeting you. I was learning to self-love before you. But meeting you and you seeing me and loving all my broken parts allowed me to blossom.
I mean, loving the broken parts is a little bit more difficult, but I'll take some credit for that.
It was difficult. I'm not an
difficult.
easy girl to love, guys. Like I had.
Oh, you are. You're extremely.
Really?
Oh my god.
Really?
You're the most easiest. Oh my days. Yeah. I have that God-given ability to see you so deeply, and I love that in you more than anything.
Oh, thank you, baby. I appreciate that. But yeah, I definitely would say like I was more the stem of the rose meeting you. Quite a few thorns, I'd say. Correct?
Got a few pricks on my fingers, that's for sure.
But this is the thing. Like this is where I was, and I do want to go back to what we were listening to earlier about when Barry Long had compared it to. He didn't compare it to a rose, but we were comparing a woman to a rose.
The analogy is very good.
The analogy was brilliant, and I want to share that with you guys because it definitely put a perspective on the woman's journey and like how she develops into this blossoming rose. And I feel like that the analogy of the stem with the thorns, that would have been my past experiences, like me as a woman, growing up in a world full of chaos, disheartening, like lack of love, rejection, pain, suffering, confusion. Like, we're brought into this world and it's scary. It's a scary world. And I feel like from what age, maybe when you're going into your teens and you're going into your going into your teenage years and your hormones are coming through and you're learning what it takes to be a woman. And I feel like coming into that and having experiences of pain and suffering, etc., like I just said, it creates these thorns within you, because it's like these thorns represent your painful experiences. And that stem, it had to be strong, it had to be hard, it had to be able to take all of these thorns. Do you know what I mean? And like that in itself, like I remember being like this strong, independent woman, and I had to be safe in this world. And through those past experiences, that's what got me through being that strong, independent woman. But being that strong, independent woman, I lost the essence of who I was. I lost the purity of who I was. I lost the innocence and that childlike energy of what I truly am. And because I had lost that, my memories of that had gone, and all I remembered is what I known myself to be and who I became. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And all of that stem, that hardened, independent woman, was definitely a reflection of like my mother and my grandmother and the women in my lineage, and even my dad's mum, like the women that have come down through my generation. Like we were the same stem. We did what we had to do to feel safe. And even though I do see the essence and the feminine of my mother and my grandmothers and etc., it's like they never, that how much of it do we see? And it's like we see parts of it, but then actually working on that rose, working on flowering and really blossoming that essence, that stem it's there, but it's not who you are. Does that make sense? Like you become more the rose rather than the stem holding the rose. Does that make sense?
I think the rose is like the perfect, the perfect analogy, because the thorns represent the pain, and the thorns also represent that safety that the thorn, that they're trying to protect you from being hurt again.
Those thorns push people away.
Yeah, they don't allow people to actually truly hold you.
Come close to you. And I definitely felt that when meeting David, like I couldn't fully let him in, and there'd be moments I was because I wanted to be loved, I wanted to be cared for, I wanted a deep relationship, yet there was a part of me that just was so scared and would be like no, go away from me. Like, no, you can't come near me. And I had that, and it was like, it would be frustrating for me because it's how I'd always been, but didn't know how to come away from that, how to heal that part,
let go of
how
that.
to let go of that
How to
part,
let go of
and to
it.
heal that part of me, because it had been a part of me for so long. But like, definitely on the journey since David's been loving me, he's been creating a really safe container for me to be able to blossom and to be able to feel safe in this environment, in our environment, in this world. Like, you've allowed me to, you've allowed me to detach from these thorns and that independent woman thing, and trust that I can, surrender to you. And that has been a process. Oh my God. But in that process, I have blossomed. So I you can safely say, like, you are the reason I've been able to blossom. And it's the reason I married you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's, obviously, like, women, as much as men believe they're safe, you know how safe a man really is by the reflection of how much his woman is surrendered into him and how much his woman feels safe. And this can't be done on like a mental level. This is actually a spiritual, psychological, energetic thing that happens. And it's taken, you've only been able to feel safe in your body and safe with me the more emotional work that I've had to go through. So the more that I've processed my own emotions, my own wounding, as I've begun to go through that and feel more safer in myself, then through that process, you can feel that energetically, you can feel that spiritually, and you can feel that biologically. And because I've been doing that work and calming my central nervous system, making myself feel safer, then you've just naturally been able to feel safer in yourself as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. And it's, it's one of those journeys that, you can only really, you can go on by yourself. You can, but
there is a good level of self-development you can have through your own spiritual journey.
Yeah.
But, and I've said it before, that all wounds in humanity don't happen by you being alone. Every wound that all of us have experienced has come from a relationship with another person.
Yeah.
Our whole personal sense of self and our identity has come from a relationship with another person. So, as much as it depends where you are on your soul's journey, what's right for your soul and everything like that. But the biggest, the ground you're going to find for the best development is always going to be in a relationship, because it's going to cause so many triggers. And I think that's what we did. And coming together how we did was just like, it was like a whirlwind. Like our coming together was not normal.
It wasn't normal. It wasn't normal at all, but we won't go into that one in this one. But let's just say, you guys are in a relationship right now, and maybe your partner, your divine masculine counterpart is not fully on board with this whole journey, this healing journey, of self-discovery and self-exploration and healing. But, how does that a woman blossom when her partner maybe isn't into all of this? Like, let's say
that's a good question. I think it's a great question. Intuitively, was you looking at me for an answer?
Yeah, I've got some answers too, but I was saying, your opinion first.
Intuitively, I would say that a lot of women have this inner calling to want to be like this, but then I think for a woman, it's a real case of what are you going to accept in your life. Like, you can begin this journey and you can be with a man, and that man can be triggering the hell out of you. And that is an opportunity for you to actually begin to start the work on flowering in yourself, because you understand that by doing this work, although the partner or the guy in this example might not be doing his work, that by doing your work, something will come between you two for that split, or maybe he goes through a massive transformation. But by blossoming in yourself, by changing your state of consciousness, as you're changing, he will either have to change, or life will remove him from your situation, from your life situation, and somebody new will be able to come in and be able to get into. And I've done that with my children's mum. Like, I went back with her after 2 years, and I've realised how different we were, and I realised that I couldn't wait around. I'd changed too much in myself. So after being with her for a year, it was like I knew I had enough inner strength in myself. I had enough consciousness and enough self-love to know what was right, that I was able to walk away. And then 3-4 months later, you turned up and the world was never the same ever again.
No, that is true. But it's definitely like a level, this is what I was going to say about, you know, what you're accepting in your relationship. And as a woman, my boundaries, like I set boundaries, and I definitely did a lot of self-worth work of setting my boundaries, knowing what I can and can't accept in a relationship, and then expressing that. And I feel like that all comes from you being like totally honest with yourself and communicating your feelings, because I feel like that is like number one in a relationship, communicating how you feel and trying your best not to project your feelings, because projection of your feelings will come across as blame, anger, frustration. And these are all just emotions that actually do need to pass before you can communicate. It's very unhealthy to actually communicate in these triggers. And this is why, you know, we teach a lot of our clients to calm the trigger, and then once that trigger has passed and you're feeling more calm, you can then express how you felt in that moment. Look, you could say, look, what you did here, what you said here really brought up a lot of feelings for me. I felt this, I felt that, I felt this, I felt that. And I would really appreciate, you know, and then you ask them what you need from them, like your man or your person. And in that, you're setting these boundaries, and you'll learn and discover about your needs. And once you're discovering your needs and communicating them, and your partner responds to them, because I don't see how any partner would not be on board with saying it in that way, right? Because you're not projecting, you're not blaming, you're just saying, this is how I feel. And if your partner loves you, you're going to get a response from him, not a reaction. Because you haven't reacted, you don't get a reaction back. When you tell them what you need from them, you will get a response. And in that response, you should be able to create more of a safety to be able to communicate in your relationship. And I feel like you can place things, you can do step by step to really put in place safety in a relationship. And once that safety is there in a relationship, and you can be 100% unapologetically yourself, and that person accept all of you, you are on the road to be able to blossom in your relationship.
Love that.
Yeah, 100%.
Really good. Some really good stuff there. There's not really much I can add to that, if I'm honest. I think you hit the nail on the head, and it does come down to communication, and by you acknowledging what you need and being able to express that, whether that partner's able to meet them needs, at least you're acknowledging them. And so when you acknowledge them, you're acknowledging what you want, and that will automatically make room for that in your life. You know, like I said, whether it's with your current partner or whether it's with somebody else. And that was something I acknowledged with my ex, is like, I need somebody that's affectionate. I need somebody that's going to acknowledge me. I need somebody that's committed to me. I need somebody that's not like one toe in, 9 toes out. I need somebody that's fully all in with me. And these were acknowledgements that I was having because I was doing my healing work. I was having these acknowledgements. I was also acknowledging that I'd never had this in my life before. And so they were unmet childhood needs. They weren't just adult needs. These were childhood needs as well. Like, I needed that from the people around me, and I never got it. And because I never got it, I suppressed it. And then, like you say, in a relationship, when we're really honest with ourselves, because it takes a great deal of honesty to be honest with what we need before we can even meet those needs. And I think a lot of people actually believe they don't need love, or actually say, well, I'm not an affectionate person. Well, that's because you haven't acknowledged that part of yourself that is affectionate.
Yeah.
You've like shut that part of yourself off. So everything that me and you do, and that we help other people do, is to really discover what they've denied in themselves. Yeah. And until you recognize and you understand that you need love and you need connection, you can't blossom, because the blossoming of a woman is a blossoming of her love. And so
pure love,
like unconditional love.
Unconditional love. And that is, it's a journey to get there. But oh my gosh, like once you're on that journey, the more love you let in and the more love you allow yourself to express, like the more you see those thorns. Like it literally like raises your awareness to yourself. And so the more love you let in, the more love you can express, and the more love and light you shine on your thorns. And I feel like that is where I'm at the moment. Like, and it's happening quicker and quicker. It's like this, you get this momentum where you're on that self-healing journey, and then it's like you have these realizations of like, yeah, I can't keep doing this, like I keep reacting like this, or I keep speaking like this, or and your partner, like I've even communicated to you like more recently, like if I do have these moments of my thorns and my stem coming up, and that hardened version of me from my past, if that does come up between us in our relationships, I actually do say to you, like, next time, because sometimes you react to it. Sometimes, like David you used to react to my sternness and my hardness and me like pushing away. But now, like, because I communicated to David, I said, you know what, next time I do that, instead of you reacting to it, would you mind just saying, oh, I feel like you're doing that again, in a calm manner, because in that I can then take a look at myself and be like, oh yeah, I'm doing it again. And then I can soften. But, it's just communicating that, okay, I didn't like how you react to that, but could you maybe next time do it a bit more softly so then I can soften too? And we've really worked through that.
I think we take things, we very rarely take things personal now, which is very beautiful, because that's how much love we've developed between us, that like, I can't raise my voice, like I can't shout at you, I can't belittle you, I can't do anything that we get away as normal human behaviour, because like you say, because there's so much more love in us both. When like we do catch ourselves in them dark moments, it's so much more clarity, but it's also so much more painful, because you've developed so much love for the other person. Like when you do something that's out of alignment with that love, you instantly recognize how painful that is, not just to yourself but also to your partner. And that's where our relationship is now. It's like we've come so far together that we can't, when anything comes up, it's instantly recognized by how much love we share between each other. And I was saying to the other day, like, another way in which you can really see that in your relationship is how quick you come back into union with each other after a disagreement, or after something flares up. Like we can if we have a little disagreement or anything, it's resolved within 30 seconds, a minute. Whereas back in the day, I'd hold on to that for like 5 days. I'm like, you're still holding on to that? Like, yeah, I ain't fucking let go of that, yeah. But that is a reflection of how much we've let go of our own pain, that we no longer hold on to it. But
and it is just recognizing that when you're as a woman and you're on that journey to blossoming and to embodying more love, more unconditional love, it's just about catching yourself like in your past emotion. So if you have all these experiences in your body that you're programmed to be, it's not who you are. And it's just remembering, oh, okay, yeah, this emotion's risen in me, but this isn't who I am. This is my past. This is my emotions, coming up. But just recognizing it, being the observer of your emotions, being an observer of when you are pushing away, to then go, okay, this is my past, and to allow yourself to then come back into the present. And it's like you have been doing exactly the same on your journey, is like you'll recognize when you're pushing away and you're, what do I call it? You're disassociating or detaching from me, or like pushing me away. You reckon, like, I'll tell you, oh, you're pushing me away, like you've really disassociated, and then you'll actually look at yourself and be like, okay, yeah, I am disassociating. And then it's having compassion for one another, and the compassion that you've had towards me as well. It's like, well, we've had it for each other. We know that, okay, when he's in his emotion and I'm in my emotion, this is our past coming up, and not to identify with it and to not take it personal are the key. It's the key to not arguing. It's the key to not clashing. It's the key to not projecting and blaming. It's the key to be able to take responsibility of our own past, because you've had your past, I've had my past, and seeing it rise within each other and making each other really accountable, because that is the journey to self-love and more love between one another.
Yeah. Because the whole point of love is to And this is the thing, like when we settle for familiarity in relationships, like this is why relationships go so stagnant. This is why relationships never move beyond, because the personal development isn't there. The love between two people never actually journeys any deeper than what you've settled for in your relationship. Whereas because like with me and you, because anytime there's trigger or anything like that, the love between us goes deeper because it clears more emotion. As it clears more emotion, there's less between us. And so the heart, like the union begins to become more and more and more of a union, to the point where, which love is trying to do, endeavoring to do in all of our relationships, is to purify us of any pain, of any emotion, so we can be truly present and experience that oneness with each other, you know.
Yeah, and I don't think any person enjoys being in their emotion.
Yeah, but they do. I don't know. I don't
unconsciously,
think so. Unconsciously, there's like
themselves. It's an attachment to it. I get
attachment,
it.
yeah.
It's like an attachment, and then it's like I can't get out of it. Like I'm stuck in it. You're stuck. But really, do you enjoy being angry? I'm asking you a question. Do you enjoy being angry?
No. From this perspective now, from my awakened perspective, 100% not. But back in the day, anger would make me feel like I had some kind of power, some kind of control, which is, you know, it's completely pathetic to see it from the position that I can now. But back in the day, I thought that anger served me. But what it really done was it really reinforced my position of my own woundings, because
it's isolation. And when you're safer on your own, you think you're safer on your own, but you're really not. You're just
that's
stuck
the conditioning.
In your own. It's the conditioning, yeah. It's the conditioning and program that, you know, we've been designed to be like, you know. But I knew growing up, like there was more to life than what the love I was seeing around me. Like, you know, I didn't have close family, as in my mum and dad. They weren't very affectionate. They weren't very close. I didn't really have anyone really demonstrating like true unconditional love, but I like knew it in myself. Like I knew I was loved, and I knew I had so much love to give that I just knew it. It was like this knowing that there's more love to life than there is right now. Does that make sense? Like growing up, like I knew, and that calling for, you know, wanting to understand like why, you know, people cheat in relationships, why people are horrible, why people are so distant, why people aren't so affectionate. You know, I had that calling to go and understand why, because I knew I didn't want it to be in a half-hearted relationship. I knew I didn't want to have these things between me and my partner. Like I knew, like growing up. So that's why, you know, I had to experience many relationships where there was so much distance and, you know, so much trouble before, but that allowed me to be like, no, I'm done with it. I'm so done with these half-hearted relationships. I want to go all in. And it was because obviously it's the same time David was also going, I want to go all in. And if you women are out there and say you've just in that in-between stage where you've left someone in the past and, you know, you're blossoming and growing as a person, you're finding self-love, you know, get to a level of I'm ready for love, and you will manifest love. Like when you get to a point in yourself and you say, I deserve more love, I deserve a relationship that's healthy, that I'm compatible with, and you open up and you just let go of when, where, how, what, why, and it will come. It's inevitable. It has to come. And when it comes, just commit to doing your work, commit to, you know, that person who comes into your life will reflect all of your pain, all of your suffering, and he will mirror everything that you don't like about yourself and learn from it and watch it and just grow from it and just work through every layer. Just keep working through and watch yourself blossom, watch yourself fall more in love with yourself.
And watch your partner blossom in the process if he or she is also committed to doing that work.
Yeah.
Because the truth is in humanity is that everybody, when you really begin to go through your own healing process, you realise that everybody is wounded. And so no matter what you do, unless you're a fully conscious person, any relationship you go into, there's going to be a level of wounding
100%.
Within both of you. But if you understand that every trigger, every reaction, every negative feeling you feel is coming from a wounding, and you two both have that acknowledgement that here's a trigger or here's something that we can work through, then you can begin to identify that wounding within yourself. You can begin to detach you can begin to release, you can begin to free yourself from your past, from that wounding, and then as a couple you're gonna go deeper together. And one of the questions that's kind of come to mind is, what are the real qualities? And I just like, I know these qualities in you because I see them all the time, but I think, for the camera, what are the real qualities of like the female flower? Like, describe like the female flower to me so women can recognize whether they're able to see these qualities in themselves, and then it give the people a bit of a distance to how far or how close they are to recognizing the flower in themselves.
Okay, so from my own experience,
your own experience.
Well, I can definitely say like I've met my inner child. Like I have like this childlike, free feeling of like I'm not scared of the world anymore. Like I've let go of my fear. I've let go of self-punishment, and it's just this level of just like playfulness and creation that's like birthing through me at the moment. And I feel like that is such a nice feeling to have. So you definitely you feel definitely more pleasure in your life. You feel more joy. You feel more fun. You feel more energetic. You feel more free. Like I can't even describe the freedom you do feel when you're feeling safe in this world. Like, and yeah, I don't really know what else to even add to that. But just feeling
Loving.
so much love. Yeah, I was about to say, feeling so much more love and closeness.
You are so much more like when we first got together. I remember, because obviously it was going through a lot was coming up. I remember I found you very difficult to touch.
Oh my God, I couldn't.
I would kiss behind your back of your neck and you'd be like, whoa, okay, get away. And then I'd be like, shit, there was some, I triggered my self-rejection wounds would come up. And
we were triggering each other so much at the beginning. Like if you guys are new here, we're like 2.5 years in. We're like, we're married now, and we're committed to just clearing whatever's between us. Like that is our mission. This is our journey. This was like sent to us from God. Like we had a clear message when we first met that we were saying about the first week we met. It was mental, but we had a clear message that we are working to allow to just remove all of the blocks and those, just the blocks between man and woman, the blame, the shaming, the triggering, the rejection, all of that. Like we're working through that to union, and this is what we've been doing for the last 2.5 years, and it's been amazing. And I don't know, you guys, if you've been watching us from the beginning, you will know our journey, but how much we're energetically changing like all the time. And we also know we're called to share our knowledge, our wisdom, what we've gone through, our experience, and to be able to just share that, and to be able to inspire others as well for, not settling for half-hearted relationships. If you truly want more love in your life, more happiness, more freedom, more cuddles, more affection, less of the thorns, we're here for you. We understand the journey. So if you ever need any advice, please get in contact. Like we offer relationship advice, relationship counseling, therapy, and lots of healing for relationships. So
very good. but then, do you know what? But that's like a few of the things that have definitely changed from how I see you now is like how much more open you are, how much more receptive you are, how much I can...
Well, you're with me 24/7, so...
But you think, like, being with somebody who's so close for so long, over such a long period, like, we're literally with each other 24/7.
And I don't think many couples can really do that, but we're committed. We don't need time apart. We're not a couple that want to run away from our problems. We face them head on. Right, this is the issue, this is how I'm feeling. And we've had some hard days, hard weeks even, hard months, hard year. But yet, we faced every day. We faced it, we overcome the challenges, we took it on, didn't we? We've gone
through a hell of a lot of healing, and we're definitely so far out the other end now that our relationship really benefits from it. And we're so much more closer, we're so much more intimate, we're so much more affectionate. But do you know, one of the things that I love most about the work that you've done is when you lay with me, like I can energetically feel how safe you feel when you're with me. Like sometimes it almost feels like I'm holding like a child. And that is like, it's such a beautiful gift. It's such a beautiful thing to be able to have you lay on me and to be able to actually feel in my whole being that you just feel completely and utterly safe with me. And for me, that's like, that lets me know that I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing, because for me, for you to truly blossom, it's required for me to truly do enough work for you to feel safe. And the fact that I've not just provided that for you, but I also provide that for my children. Like my children are so much more safe with me now. Like they come up, they're so much more affectionate, and you know that there, you know, this is like a massive role that is an honor for me to fulfill, and it's an honor for me to have the rewards of seeing you become such a beautiful, fantastic person. And I feel like with you, what I've done more than anything, it's been like a pure service. And I feel like the more we awaken, the more love we embody, we actually, instead of self-serving, which is like me, my needs, what do I want, like we serve other people. And I feel like,
and serve each other.
But for me, it's like to really serve you I think has allowed you to be even more open, because we all turn around in our relationships, we say, oh, I love you, you know, I love you. But love is so easy to say love, whereas the actual demonstration of true love is like an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it's being love, and it's choosing to be love, right?
But for me, it's like I have to demonstrate, or like love is to demonstrate every day how much you care and love about love somebody.
Yeah, but then there's also love languages. But I feel like the whole overall love language of whatever it means to you, whatever love means to you, is to be love. Just choose to be love, because when you're not in love, you're in emotion.
Yeah.
But I really think we should wrap it up, because our battery's about to die and we don't want it to die. But yeah, I really love talking about this little topic, and I feel like it's so eye-opening.
Before we go, give us 5 key things that a woman can do to allow herself to blossom more.
Well, just to wrap it up, set boundaries.
Nice.
Communicate your boundaries in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Observe when you're in emotion and when you're in presence, in love, in God. Like, you've got to distinguish the difference. You've got to observe, be the observer of your life and your reality and your being. And 5, just making sure you're doing your work every day to just be present, to be still, to be mindful, to be here in the present moment, because you can only feel love when you're in the present. When you're not, you're in your past, you're in your emotions, you're in your stem, you're in your thorns.
Very good.
But I hope you enjoyed this episode, guys, and we love you so much. And, you know, we're always here for you if you need some guidance. Do visit our website, www.homeofselftransformation.com, for more information on our services. So much love, guys.